Welcome back to the Millionaire Gym. My name is Temycka Carlton. I empower small businesses, organizations, coaches to plan for their future and grow their business while preparing for an eventual exit. Today, we're going to talk about the science of team building, how to create a winning team dynamic. Team building is very essential for success in any field. Exploring the science of team building is super key, right? Because a lot of times we don't know how to build a great team. Or we're afraid of handing over certain things to our team because, we're so used to doing them ourselves. And when you create a winning team, you have to learn the science of team building because there's a science behind it. So one of the first sciences behind it is creating clear goals. A lot of times in business, we don't have clear goals of what we want people to do, what positions or roles we want them to play. And when you don't have a clear goal of that, guess what? Nobody knows their place. And the fact that they don't know their place, they don't know where they should be within business. But I'm here to tell you that when you create clear goals in your business, that people know where to go, right? For example, right? If you have a goal of, okay, making sure your marketing department has a marketing lead and 2, 3 people doing your marketing promotion, like one on maybe social media, LinkedIn, maybe one on TikTok, maybe one on, Facebook. That's a clear goal of where you want people to go, right? Now, the other thing with that is they have to know their responsibilities, right? You have to say, okay, they are responsible for X, Y, and Z. The lead is telling them what they were responsible to do, but also making sure that it's done. And that's the key now. When you have a team that's winning, right, and a great dynamic, you have people in the right positions. But you also have them in the right position, knowing the clear goals. So if your goal is to hit $1 million by the end of the year, that's your goal, right? That's a clear goal. Everybody on your team knows, like, okay, we're bound to hit 1 million. And now we have a clear goal of how we're going to hit that million. Okay, we're going to offer X amount of products in Q1, right? Or either in Q2. Okay, or we're going to offer these things. Okay, we're going to reach these many people. Okay, we're going to have this success. Now, when you have these clear goals of what everybody is supposed to do, but not only supposed to do, you have the clear goals of, okay, these people are supposed to be doing this at this time, right? Or these people are supposed to be reaching out to this person at this time, right? Now, as a CEO, as a business owner, you're saying to yourself, my team has clear direction of what it is they need to do. So I can loosen up the reins on my end and I can be the CEO of my business and show up when I am needed. But if you're not showing up when you are needed, it's because you don't know the science of great team building, right? And if you're working as a team member, an employee in your business, you shouldn't be, right? That's the point of hiring a team. If your team is not right performing the way they should perform or doing the responsibilities that they're doing, then maybe you need to find another team. And yes, it does take a while, and sometimes yes, it does take time for you to actually get the team that you want, your A team, your winning team, your dream team, right? Because you have to go through so many prospects, and you have to, kind of weed out people to make sure they're the right people. But when you have clear goals, everybody that comes on your team knows what they're doing, right? This is why you should always have SOPs, standard operating procedures in your business, because those are clear processes and standards that your business meets. So when somebody comes in, they know that if their job is doing campaigns, they have a roadmap of, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. These are the steps you need to follow. They have concise, timeline, but they have a goal, right? So the goal would be to, okay, I need to create this campaign. Okay, these are the steps that I need to do to create this campaign, right? And in business, if you don't have a clear goal of why you're even in business, or if you don't have a clear goal of why you're remotely in the position that you're in, then the reality of it is maybe you don't need to be in business, right? But creating that winning team dynamic is going to be crucial for now and years to come. because that's either going to make or break your first and your next $1 million. Because when you have clear goals, there's no reason why everybody's trying to fumble around trying to figure out what to do. It's no reason why people are trying to figure out, okay, what is my next move? There's no reason why people are trying to figure out, okay, what goals are we hitting? What goals are we not hitting? Okay, where should we be right now? Your goals should be clear and concise. Okay, so for example, a clear, concise goal could be my goal is to hit 1.4 million by the end of the year and to attain 1,000 members in my mentorship or 100 members in my mastermind group. Those are clear and concise goals because now you know how many people you need. You know what you need it for, right? And you know who you're targeting. So people can't say, "Oh, she doesn't have a clear, concise, you know, goal." No, she does. She or he has a clear, concise goal, and your team should know what that goal is because your team is going to help you be able to get that 1,000 people, that 100 people into your mastermind or your programs. They're going to also be able to help you hit that $1 million because they know at the end of the day, like, okay, well, guess what? These are the goals that we need to hit. This is how much we should be putting in this role. Okay, we should be doing this, we should be doing that at this time and this, and now it creates that camaraderie where everybody is held accountable for the actions and things that they're doing. But also what it's showing you and it's telling you is that, okay, if people cannot meet these clear goals that you have set, then it's time to let them go. When you're creating a winning team and you're creating a team that knows that at the end of the day, guess what? She has set forth in the business a roadmap, a blueprint for us to follow, and we're not following it. So if you're not following it, then what are you really doing? Let's be very frank. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk more about the science of team building and how to create a winning team dynamic. Welcome back to the $1 Million Gym. So we were talking about the science of team building, how to create a winning team dynamic, and you know we've been talking about clear goals, having clear goals, and setting clear goals. Also, another component of how to create a winning team dynamic is defining the role and responsibilities. And I feel like a lot of times in business, people are not in the right places because, as a CEO and business owner, because we're not gifted and skilled in those specific roles, we don't know what to look for, right? Sometimes we offer a lot of these behavioral tests and we look at people's resumes and we have like interviews via virtual or either in person, and it still doesn't add up or align to what the position is actually seeking, right? So a lot of times we find that we're hiring and firing, or we're putting people in the wrong position because even though we have defined the roles and the responsibilities, when we hire people, they either were hired for the wrong role and should have been hired for another role, or either they were put in a place because we felt that because of the test and because of the actual their resume and their interview that they were the best candidate, and sometimes it does not work out for them to be the best candidate in that position and in that role. So as a business owner, we really need to say to ourselves, like, okay, when is it going to be our responsibility as a CEO and business owner to hire people that fit the dynamic of our team based on our vision, our mission, and value statement, and they believe in what we're doing? And a lot of times that's the problem is people do not believe in what you're doing. And you're hiring people who just want to either come in for the pay or they want to come in because of they feel like they can just do the work and an income stream for them. I feel like when you create a winning team dynamic, you're hiring people who believe in your dream and your mission and your vision of your company and your business, and they want to be there for longevity, right? And you're not just hiring because of a need, or you're not hiring just because of a want. You're not hiring just because you feel like it's something that's needed right now. When you do this, you have to say to yourself, I'm creating my A team, my dream team that's going to be with me for a long time. And are they in the right roles and responsibilities? And you also, the key is hiring a team of people that at the end of the day can switch off roles. What I mean is, when I say switch off roles, say you hire somebody for operations, right? And say, for instance, your marketing manager is out on vacation, right? And say, for instance, you don't have somebody to fill that role, or you don't want to hire somebody to fill that role. Now, the person you have for operations, they have marketing in their background. So they can come in and fill that position until they come back. This is why when you build that dream team and you have that winning team, you want to make sure everybody on your team is able to do each other's job to a certain extent. So whereas if somebody was out, they're able to fill that position. Or you want to make sure that there are necessary standard operating procedures within your business that is so easy that somebody can follow. And I think that's the problem, is that people cannot follow what they can't follow. If you don't have standard operating procedures, what are people following, right? And you can't spend your time all the time in your business, right, training people, telling people what they need to do, constantly looking over their shoulder. You can't, because what's going to happen is that now you won't be able to do your job, and you won't be successful in what you need to be successful in. And a lot of times we don't think that. And so when things go left, and it's kind of like, yeah, I spent all my time training this person and I didn't make the phone call that I needed. I didn't follow up with these people. Now I'm in a position where it's kind of like, okay, what do I do next? Not only what do I do next, but what am I also not saying? What am I also not in alignment with? Right. And that is key when it comes to business, making sure you are in alignment in everything that needs to be done. But it's also defining those roles. Like, yes, a lot of times I've seen people tell people go to their website, or go to, like a Gucci, and it identifies their roles and responsibilities. But you got to remember, a lot of times those might be the basic roles, right? And they're not even all the responsibilities of somebody. So the best use of somebody's time is when they come into the position, to make sure they're getting constantly trained on that position, but not only constantly trained, they're also getting that constant feedback, right? But as well as they're also saying, like, okay, outside of the feedback, they know what they're doing. So if somebody else was to come in on your team, they can train them. And that's what you want. You want everybody on your team that comes in on your team to be leaders. And you want them to lead for the next people that come in. And a lot of times as business owners, we don't have leaders. We do not create leaders. And when you create a winning team dynamic, you are creating leaders to come in and lead the team in marketing, lead the team in sales, lead the team in operations, lead the team in copywriting, whatever it is for your team, you're leading them, because this now takes you out the business and it takes you into that CEO, that visionary place. And now you're doing what needs to be done. And y'all creating the income and revenue that you need because you have created leaders. Leaders are able to execute. Leaders are able to show the way. Leaders are able to say, listen, we're going to win regardless, because we have created a dynamic here. We have created a family here. So now what's happened is that in the lifeline of my business and the lifeline of this business, we have created a championship movement. We have created a championship team. We have created a championship guideline. So what we're going to do, we're going to take another break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about more of the science of team building and how to create a winning team dynamic. Welcome back to the $1 Million Gym. We were talking about the science of team building, how to create a winning team dynamic. We've been talking about having clear goals. We've also been talking about defining roles and responsibilities. But now we're going to talk about managing work and deadlines based on priorities. A lot of times in business, we don't know what our priorities are because we may have three top priorities today, but because the business has changed and pivot in the direction that it's going in, now things have changed. So we have to make the changes and the necessary changes, right? So when we're launching, we have deadlines that we have to meet, right? We have workloads, caseloads that we need to change, we need to pivot, right? And that's what people don't understand is when you're in a business and you have a team that's winning, they're able to pivot. They're able to meet the deadlines without you having to constantly stay on top of them, right? And this is why I said when you create leaders, leaders lead. So they make sure everybody's doing and playing their part. They make sure that the deadlines are being met, but also the priorities are being met. So, say for instance, your main priority right now is to make sure that these funnels are built within your business, right? Because you're about to go launch. You should have somebody on the back end making sure that the funnels are being put in place, and you're not focused on that, right? Because you're gonna they should be able to meet those deadlines, right? And that's what you want when you create a winning team. As you want to make sure that your team is very clear and specific in the things that they need and the timeline for everything. And if they're not ready for that timeline and they're not able to say, like, listen, okay, we're going to get this done. We're going to get this done right. We're going to get this done in the best way possible. We're going to make sure we move, pivot, shake, rattle, and roll in our business. But your team is as good as you are as a CEO and visionary. Yes, when you first start, you're gonna have to take time to train people how you want them to work, right? And then what happens is they bring in their skills and their gifts and they create a dynamic where they're able to work in a way that's best for them, but with your vision in mind, right? And that's key. Is that sometimes as a CEO and as a business owner, we want people to work the way that we want them to work. Not realizing that you can't tell someone in operations how to work because that's not your gift, right? So the way you've done operations all these years is different from somebody who specializes in operations, right? So you might say, okay, listen, I want you to do X, Y, Z. And they're like, well, I don't think that's the right way we should do it. Maybe we should do it this way, that way, and this way, that way, right? So you should always be adaptable, but you should also have that open mindedness within your business to say, okay, I'm going to have an open mind of at the end of the day, which direction to go in, right? And that's what it's about when you have a winning team is that everybody is working as a team, not individual. Even when you have leaders, your leaders are not working as an individual. They're working as a team, making sure all the tasks are getting done, the workflows are getting done. Um, every priority that needs to be met is being met. But not only that, they're making sure at the end of the day that guess what? We are here to slay. We are here to dominate. We are here to make sure that at the end of the day, nothing will stop us from getting to our next level. And that's the key when it comes to the science of team building is implementing and building a team, right? You got to look at the team like, okay, you know how they always say like, especially when you have kids, you know, train a village or raise a village, because it should be that way, right? Or either in the army, their philosophy is the army of one, right? Your team should be the same way. Your team should be as of one, right? So your team never goes against each other, right? So you as the CEO and visionary of the organization, of the actual business, right? You're part of that team. Everybody has their opinions, everybody has ideas, everybody has things that they want to express. But the reality of it, they got to meet those clear goals. They got to define the roles and responsibilities of each other. They have to manage work and deadlines, and you know, really based it on the priorities that are needed at the time. And the reality of it is you have to let them have that openness, that freedom to execute that. And if you have a team that you're not on the same page with, or if you have a team that you don't feel comfortable moving to that level with, or you don't have a team where you're like, okay, well, guess what? I'm not in a place where I feel comfortable, allowing for this to happen, then that's what you need to speak up. But the reality of it is, guess what? Managing the work and deadlines based on priorities, your team should be able to do that with their eyes speed because they're doing a gift, right? Their gift can be marketing, sales, copywriting. It could be, operation. It could be whatever, right? This is their gift. So the deadlines and the priorities that they're meeting are simple to them because this is what they do on a daily basis. This is what they do to keep businesses moving. This is what they do to keep their own business moving, right? So it should not be a problem when you have team members who are winning, team members who are making sure you're winning. Because when you win, everybody wins. Just like when your team wins, everybody wins. And that's the mindset you should have. That's the feeling you should have when you're building, a winning team dynamic. But also when, you know, you're thinking of a team in general is how are we going to win together? How are we going to eat together? How are we going to stick together? How are we going to fight together? That's what it is because your team becomes like your family. Like, you know what I'm saying? You depend on each other. When one is down, the other's got to pick up the slack, right? That's just what it is. And if you're out here doing everything by yourself or you're out here doing everything alone, then you don't have a proper team. You need to have a proper winning team, and your proper winning team is basically going to say to you, okay, we going to do this. We're here for it. But if at the end of the day you don't have that, then guess what? There's no need for you to sit here and blame anybody but yourself. That's the honest truth. So I'm here to tell you that at the end of the day, if the science of building a team and creating a winning team dynamic is having clear goals that are clearly executed across the board, but not only executed, they're clearly stated across the board in every facet of everything you have going on. Define the role and responsibility of your team, not only of your team, but of everybody that is in your circle. That is from higher up all the way down to the bottom. And manage your work and deadlines based on your priorities. What are the top priorities that you want done within your business or need in your business where you're going to say to yourself, okay, I got it. These are the things that need to be done, right? To create that winning team dynamic. You should never have to budge for anything or anyone to change the directory of what is a winning team for you as a CEO and visionary in business. You know what your vision is, right? Because that's why you're the visionary. Now you have to speak that. You have to put that into existence. But not only that, the best key and the greatest key of all times is guess what? You have to make sure the people you bring on board, they know your vision, they see your vision, and they're able to guess what? Put your vision out there in plain view and plain sight because they're able to stick to, the guidelines. They're able to respect you as a visionary and you're able to respect them. Your team now becomes your family. And that's how you create a winning team dynamic. It's making sure everybody in your team is not just considered a team member, they're your family, right? So when I say that, I mean like a lot of times people feel like when you say team, it's like, okay, people who work for me or people who work for you. No, your team doesn't just work for you. Your team works for themselves as well, but your team works for your clients, your customers. And that's what you have to remember. You have to remember at the end of the day, it's a unit and you are as strong as your unit. So if this was helpful for you and you felt like, okay, I don't have a winning team. I need a winning team, right? Book a hybrid business chat with me and my team so we can map out a plan for you to get a winning team, right? And move you to your next level, right? If this was helpful for you, I mean, somebody who needs to hear this, like, comment, share, invite a friend, and we'll be back. And we'll see you on the flip side. Thank you for watching the $1 Million Journey.